Okay, so hello everyone. In this video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead um, and solve polynomials by grouping and factoring. So here we have, we have a polynomial equation, and oh, and by the way, I forgot to put this on each one of them. So we're going to go ahead and do these three problems. Now, this is one way to solve polynomial equations. This is not, like, there are polynomial equations where you have to use more, like, other methods to solve it. But this is one of the ways in which you can solve a polynomial equation. You cannot do this for all of them, though. But yeah, so the first one that we're going to do, and let me go ahead and copy it down. So this is the first one, x cubed minus x squared minus 9x plus 9 equals 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to factor this by grouping. So if I grab this and I just say, so this is x cubed minus x squared. And then I'm going to say plus, and I'm going to grab this part here. So plus, and I'm going to put parentheses, negative 9x plus 9. And then this is equal to 0, right? So looking at the first, this first part here, it's very clear that I can factor out an x squared from there. So x squared times x minus 1, and then it's going to be plus, and I can, looking at this, this part here, I can factor out, so this is basically what this is, right? And then this one over here is going to be plus negative 9 times the quantity x minus 1, and this is all equal to 0. So this is what this one is. Now, if you guys notice, you can factor out an x minus 1. So if you make u equal to x minus 1, right, you have x squared times u. So let me go ahead and write this down. Hold on. Okay, so if we make u equal to x minus 1, we're going to get the following. We're going to say x squared u, right, x squared u, and then it's going to be minus 9u, because plus negative 9 is minus 9. So this is minus 9u equals 0. Now, we can factor out that u, right? So we can say u times the quantity x squared minus 9 equals 0. And we know that u is x minus 1. So really, this becomes the quantity x minus 1, quantity x minus 1 times x squared minus 9 equals 0. Now, this, these are two different things, so we can use the zero products property to set both of these equal to 0. So that means that x minus 1 equals 0, or x squared minus 9 equals 0. The way that you solve for x and x minus 1 equals 0, you're going to go ahead and add 1 to both sides, right? So this gives you x equals 1. So x equals 1, right? And then for this one, you're going to go ahead and add 9 to both sides, get x squared equals 9, and then take the square root of both sides. And we know that when we take a square root, we have to do the positive and negative, right? So the square root of 9 is really plus or minus 3. So your roots, or your solutions, are x equals 1, x equals 3, and x equals negative 3. So that is how you do this problem, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the second one. Okay, so this one, we have 6x cubed minus 3x squared minus 10x plus 5 is equal to 0, right? So for this one, it's the same idea. You're just going to go ahead and grab. So we have 6x cubed minus 3x squared, right? We can make that into 1. And then we also have the minus 10x plus 5, right? So that would be another one, right? So really, this is going to be 6x cubed minus 3x squared, and then plus, and then it's going to be negative 10x plus 5 equals 0. Now, we can factor both of these separately. So if we look at 6x cubed minus 3x squared, we obviously can factor out a 6. So we have 6 times x cubed minus, or I'm sorry, we can factor out a 3, excuse me. So if we divide this by 3, this becomes 3. So it becomes, let me go ahead and do this. 3 times the quantity 2x cubed minus x squared, right? And we know that lastly we can factor out an x squared from here because that's the least, that's the greatest common factor, right? So this one is going to be, so if we grab this, we have a 3, right? And then within the x cubed, the 2x cubed minus x squared, if we look at that separately, we can literally factor out an x squared, right? So this would be x squared, so we have x squared times 2x minus 1. So this would be times the quantity, and we're going to do x squared times 2x minus 1. So really, this whole thing factors as 3x squared times 2x minus 1. So that is how you factor this first part. So this becomes 3x squared times 2x minus 1, right? So that is this part here. And now we have, so let me kind of move this down a little bit. So then we have negative 10x plus 5. Well, negative 10x plus 5 is a linear function. So linear functions are usually, or linear, not a linear function, a linear expression. So this becomes, so we can factor out a 5. So 5 times, and then we have negative 2x plus 1, right? So that is because if we divide by 5, this gives us 5 times negative 2x plus 1, right? Or not, it would give us negative 2x plus 1, but when you multiply it back in, that's what it'd be. 5 times negative 2x plus 1 equals negative 10x plus 5. Now, here's the thing though. The term that we have over here is 2x minus 1 and not negative 2x plus 1. So what you have to do is, since there's a negative here, you can factor out that negative. So 5 times negative 2x plus 1, we know that's negative 10x plus 5, right? But we would grab negative 2x plus 1, and we know that this is just negative the quantity 2x minus 1. So really, negative 10x plus 5 would be negative 5 times 2x. It's going to be 2x minus 1, right? Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so basically, this is really what we would end up with, right? You really have to understand how to factor, and I do have a video of that, but I'm doing this for those that forgot how to do that, how to factor. So then we know that negative 10x plus 5 is negative 5, so it's going to be plus, and it's going to be negative 5 times 2x minus 1. And then this is equal to 0. Now, we know we have two different things. So this is where, so we have 3x squared times 2x minus 1, and then minus 5 times 2x minus 1 equals 0. Now, the common factor is 2x minus 1. So we're going to highlight that. And we're going to set that equal to u, right? So u is 2x minus 1, right? So then if I go ahead and say 3x squared times u, so 3x squared u, right? And then minus 5u is equal to 0, right? 5u, and then it's like this, and then this is equal to 0. So I can factor out a u, right? So u times 3x squared minus 5 equals 0. I know that u is 2x minus 1, right? U is 2x minus 1. So I'm going to say 2x minus 1 times 3x squared minus 5 equals 0. So then, using the zero product property, I have 2x minus 1 equals 0, or 3x squared minus 5 equals 0. Adding 1 to both sides here, I get 2x equals 1, and then adding 5 to both sides over here, I get 3x squared equals 5. Oh, and by the way, forgot to, so we're going to divide both sides by 2, right? So this would be x equals 1/2. And then we're going to divide both sides by 3 here. So divide both sides by 3 over here. We get x squared equals 5/3, and then we're going to take the square root. So take the square root of both sides. We get x equals plus or minus the square root of 5. So plus or minus the square root of 5 over 3. This is equal to plus or minus the square root of 5 over the square root of 3. Really, this would be, we would rationalize the denominator. So times the square root of 3 on top and bottom. And this would be the square root of 15 over 3, plus or minus. So x would be plus or minus square root of 15 over 3. So your solutions would be, so the solutions would be x equals 1/2, x equals the square root of 15 over 3, and x equals negative square root of 15 over 3. Okay? So that is the idea, and the reason why I'm really trying to explain, like, factoring, because I'm sure, like, maybe some of you, you kind of need that, and so, yeah, so, but it's basically just like factoring, you're just setting them both equal to 0, right? So I'm going to do the last one. Okay, so this one says 5x cubed minus 5x squared minus 3x plus 3 equals 0, right? So it's the same idea. You're just going to grab this. So let's go ahead and actually let's rewrite it. So this would be 5x cubed minus 5x squared plus negative 3x plus 3 equals 0. We're going to grab this, and we're also going to grab this, okay, and factor them separately. So we have 5x cubed minus 5x squared. Looking at this, we can factor out a positive, or I'm sorry, no, not a positive. We can factor out a 5, right? So let's go ahead and first do that. So 5, and I'm going to do this step by step. So 5 times x cubed minus x squared. And notice that we still have a common term here. Looking at the lowest degree, we know that that's our least common denominator, or greatest common factor, I'm sorry. So that's our greatest common factor, right? So x squared would be factored out. So we have 5, and then it's going to be times the quantity, and we can divide both of those by x squared, right? So we have divided by x squared, and this is obviously going to be times, so we have x cubed over x squared minus x squared over x squared. This is x minus 1, so this would be 5 times, and we know that if we multiply it back in, x squared times x minus 1 is x cubed minus x squared. So that would be the factored form, right? So it'd be x squared times x minus 1, right? So that is how you factor that one. So really, 5x cubed minus 5x squared is equal to 5x squared times x minus 1. That's the first part, right? Now the other part is we need to factor the negative 3x plus 3. Sorry about that, guys. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So this is what, so basically this right here is what 5x squared, or 5x cubed minus 5x squared would be. And then to do negative 3x plus 3, so that's a linear function, right? Or linear expression. So negative 3x plus 3 is basically negative 3 times x minus 1. So that's literally what this would be. So this is, I mean, the linear expressions are usually the easiest to factor, right? So then we know that this whole thing, given what we did, we have, so it's going to be 5x squared times x minus 1. And then we're going to do plus negative 3x, or I'm sorry, negative 3 times x minus 1, right? So then we know, and then we know that this is equal to 0. And then we can make u equal to x minus 1. So this is u, and this is u. So really it would be 5x squared u, and then minus 3u equals 0, right? So then u can be factored out, so u times 5x squared minus 3 equals 0, right? And we know that u is x minus 1, right? So we have x minus 1, so x minus 1 times 5x squared minus 3 equals 0. Now, using the zero products property, we can say that, so we have x squared, or I'm sorry, x minus 1 times 5x squared minus 3 equals 0. and then x minus 1 equals 0, or 5x squared minus 3 equals 0. And then adding 1 to both sides, we get x equals 1. And then adding 3 to both sides, here we get 5x squared equals 3. And then you're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 5. So you have x squared equals 3/5. And then you take the square root of both sides. And remember, when you take the square root, you do the plus or minus, right? So x equals plus or minus, and it's going to be the square root of 3 over the square root of 5. Now, you're going to rationalize it. So you're going to multiply by the square root of 5, right? So let me rewrite that a little bit better. So it's going to be times the square root of 5 over the square root of 5. And this will be plus or minus the square root of 15 over 5. And so your answers are going to be x equals 1, x equals the square root of 15 over 5, and x equals negative square root of 15 over 5. So those are your solutions to this equation, okay? So with that being said, guys, I really do hope that helps. I did do my best in terms of trying to explain this. If for any reason if anybody does have any questions, or if you're confused about something, please let me know and I will try to clarify it to the best of my ability. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and please like, comment, and or subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.